Had they have not been there to help, I don't know how it would have turned out.
Well, 20 years old when I went to the careers office with an intention of joining the Royal Navy. Passed that training, straight to 40 Commando, and exactly a year to the date, I landed on an AC-130 at Bagram Air Base. Well, shortly after that, we returned back to 40 Commando. It soon became apparent that we were to board ship on Sir Galahad, and then we sailed out and headed towards the Gulf. Colonel Messenger, he was our commanding officer. I remember the speech that he gave to 40 Commando out in Kuwait before we loaded onto the Chinooks to go in, and it's a speech that I'll never forget. Actually, prior to leaving ship before we invaded Iraq, I remember making a telephone conversation home to my wife just to say, look, you know, we've been told that this is the last telephone conversation we can have with you. We can't really tell you where we're going or what we're doing. And I actually remember telling me that she was pregnant. Kind of changed my career thoughts.
Once Jamie left the Marines, he was like a little lost soul.
I wanted to be this role model for my family and friends. I started applying for work out in the Middle East, and then joined the team, underwent some training out there, and then soon joined a team out in Camp Victory in Baghdad. I lost a friend of mine doing the job, and it kind of highlighted, actually, do you know, it's a bit too risky, this work. And then there was lots of talk about maritime security, and I did that for 6 years. And then my wife and I had a conversation about, you know, it's too much time away from home. The children are growing up. I'd missed pretty much 8 years of my children's lives, and I was just getting snippets. So I decided to look into university degrees, and had a look around some courses and fell in love with a sports therapy degree. I proved to myself that I was able to achieve that, and I did, and I was, you know, extremely proud of myself. But I kind of got itchy feet again. It was actually a friend of ours that suggested that the ambulance service, West Mids Ambulance Service, were recruiting. I qualified, and then I went to work out of Worcester Station on the ambulance, funnily enough with another former Royal Marine. It was a very rewarding job. But obviously with that, you know, there comes the other element of the job that, you know, people are aware of, but nobody really talks about. Went to quite a few unpleasant jobs, and one job in particular I went to. Sorry. I knew the guy. I kept having flashback images, but it was weird because I was having flashback images of recent events, but also past events from my time in the Corps, which I've never experienced before. All I remember is the next day that my wife said to me, I'm going to take you to the doctors. I've booked an appointment and we're going to the doctor. I felt that I needed to do it now, because I was concerned that if I didn't do it now, that I might not have been able to. The Royal Marines charity came to mind, and I searched up the website. I had a phone call from Kate, and she was amazing. And then they put me in touch with Vicky, my therapist, who was, again, she was an angel. She was amazing. After I'd had help from the charity, I wanted to give back to the charity, to put back in the pot what I'd had so that others can benefit from what I'd had. So I came up with this crazy challenge of doing 24 hours of burpees. I was never gonna give up. I was always gonna complete 24 hours regardless of how many reps I did. So I ended up doing 5,896 burpees in 24 hours. Life's good. I run a rehabilitation clinic, just approaching our 5-year mark. And year by year, we're just getting busier and busier. And yeah, life's good. Our youngest boy, Max, he joined the Royal Marines back in July last year. Incredibly honoured and privileged to have been invited down to present my son with his Green Beret.
When I hit the halfway point on the 30 miler, so 15 miles in, I knew I wasn't going to stop. There was no inch of my body that wanted to stop. Walked through the gates, got into Hollow Square, and got presented my Green Beret from my dad.
As a parent, you just look back and you just go, do you know what, we've done all right. We've done all right.
We went down to CTC and it was an absolute fabulous day. We had all our family there supporting Max, and he just looked absolutely gorgeous in his blues.
Loads of different emotions. I was happy, tired, just everything, just glad that training was finally over. Marching onto the parade square, getting marched on by the Royal Marines band was amazing, because you hear it all through training, you hear people getting marched on, and you're like, one day that's going to be me. The Royal Marines is incredible. My biggest aspiration is to become a PTI and to help other recruits follow the same journey that me, my dad and my granddad have all been through. My family were fortunate enough to get support from the RMA to help my dad. Future generations like myself, it's nice to know that the RMA will always be there and support us if we need it.